Okay.
All right, welcome again, everybody. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles here to entertain you with bands or artists that have released 3 or fewer albums. Not everybody has these long, drawn-out discographies like Jethro Tull, for God's sakes. Some people can get it done in 3 albums or fewer. There's one band in particular that we're all thinking of that only released 1 album. It's the same one, that everybody talks about. So we're kind of staying away. I think we agreed we're kind of staying away from super groups that are more like projects like Temple of the Dog and the Traveling Wilburys and Blind Faith and all of those. Not really doing like one-off solo projects like Rick Ocasek, doing a couple of albums away from the Cars, and Benjamin Orr doing an album away from the car, just people like that. These are more like actual legitimate. They were bands. They were probably thought they were going to have long careers or wanted to have long careers, but for whatever reason, they did not. Some are going to be more obscure than others. Obviously, I'm just going to start with one that is super popular. There's 2, I think, that are really, 3 that are really super popular, and I don't think that 2 of them, most people probably realize that there are actually only 3 albums, studio albums, not live albums, not compilations, not record companies throwing things together. And one is the Jimi Hendrix Experience. I mean, all that great music, and they really only did the 3 albums. Now, of course, Jimi Hendrix had solo albums, and he had things that record companies put together later on, and he had a band of gypsies, but the best for me is the Jimi Hendrix Experience, especially with the drumming and, all of that. The Jimi Hendrix Experience, Are You Experienced, Axis Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland.
Yeah. Electric Ladyland.
3 solid, totally solid albums. I mean,
all 3.
Geez, it's just like perfect albums all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess I'm next there. That was short.
Yeah, well, so are these careers.
Yes. They were very brief career, and it ended right after they released their second. Well, actually, it ended before their second album was even released, because the band broke up, and that is Slint. And this is their second album, which is considered a, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's total underground classic. It slowly grew because, and their first album, the only other album they ever did, was Tweez.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of kids from Louisville, Kentucky that they started playing music when they were 12 and 13 and 14 years old, and they were touring. They were going to bars and playing with these punk bands and going to punk clubs. They went to some like an art school there in Louisville. If you haven't seen the documentary Breadcrumb Trail, check it out. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's an excellent documentary about the band, and it tells the story of what happened when, their classic, their best. Let me pull it out because of that glare. That the band, just after they were finished recording it, one of the band members, he checked himself into a hospital. It was a traumatic psychological experience for him, the recording process. The legend has it that, and it's been confirmed by several sources, that the vocals that he's doing in the song Good Morning Captain at the end, that he is shouting and screaming so hard that he vomited right there in the studio. And the band, they were playing it live. They were in different compartments while they were recording it, but it was all going at the same time. So nobody really knew that had happened, at that time. But yeah, Slint is, a couple of them have gone on to do other careers. The drummer, who was really the key, went for a while, played with the Breeders. Then David Pajo, I think is his name, went on to play with King Kong, along with their original bassist. Their original bassist quit the band after the first record because he didn't like the way Steve Albini recorded the album, or at least he didn't like the way he recorded the bass. So they all had little different careers or whatever. Interesting band, fantastic music in my opinion, very interesting characters, but just 2 albums that never got promoted. So that's why it took so long. I mean, it's continued to sell records over the years, but it basically was word of mouth for a long time. You know, if you didn't hear about Slint from somebody, you never knew about them because they never promoted the album.
Yeah, two great albums, and the artwork, the photography on both of those, just
that second album. The thing I think I've heard them, but I know the other one. I know that cover. It's a classic. Like you know who that is.
Yeah. Do you know what was the inspiration for this?
Me,
the Beatles album.
The Beatles. I was going to say it looks like that Life magazine Beatles cover.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, just iconic. 2 iconic records.
Well, I mean, my list is insane. So, I'm going to start with, and probably most of these people don't know.
Wait. Show your list again.
It looks like one of those.
We're going to have to speed this up. We're going to have to.
I would like to tell you real quick. I'll go quick on mine. This is half of what I came up with. I actually cut it in half. So the first one I'm going to talk about, and I'm really trying to focus on like people may not be familiar with them, and they're important bands to me. So British band, they only released 3 albums. The Darling Buds, the lead singer Andrea is just freaking incredible. So their debut, Pop Said, Crawdaddy, which is my absolute favorite, and then their last album that came out in '92. Same title as Madonna's album that came out that same year. This came out a month prior, Erotica. There's a song called Long Day in the Universe that people might be familiar with. It was on the So I Married an Axe Murder soundtrack.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna mention one that I had no idea they only made 3 albums. I'm gonna look like a complete idiot, but it's true. I mean, I'll be honest. I had no idea this band only made 3 albums. They're one of the biggest bands of all time. You know, they're up there with Hendricks and But Nirvana, who knew? Apparently everybody knew. Mike. I mean, I'm not a grunge person. I didn't like grunge, but I had no idea.
Well, I think some people get confused with things like Incesticide, thinking that that's a studio album, but not really a compilation of older singles and whatever. And then you have radio hits coming from things like Unplugged in New York and all that. But yeah, as far as studio albums, 3.
I had no idea until this making of this video.
The Modern Lovers.
Yeah.
For coming out with that, especially that debut that sounds so timeless. I mean, that thing could have come out in the 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's been Jonathan Richman albums or whatever, Jonathan Sings or whatever. But yeah, the Modern Lovers. It's still an album that people will pick up and immediately fall in love with decades later. And it's never really gone out of style. And it's remained under the radar. It's not a radio album. It's not some big, it doesn't make a bunch of lists, but everybody that hears that, wow, what is this? Listen to this guy. He's such a smart, he's like talking right to, he's like singing what I feel, you know.
It's one of those albums like Slint or like even like Television, you know, the debut or Big Star. It's just they're always there. They're under the radar.
Yeah.
You see that album cover and you know, oh, that's an important album. Yeah. It's a good call.
This one, I guess it kind of counts. They only had 1 album. They had some singles. They recorded some singles, but then nothing ever happened with their singles. And so it wasn't until years later that the singles were put together and released as an album. And they're a little known African-American punk band, Pure Hell. And the album is Noise Addiction. So I believe they were from Philadelphia. And this is some really, really good,
Never heard
hardcore. This is, yeah, good punk rock.
I love that.
And yeah, one album that really only happened because all the recordings that they made, I think, go back to like 1970, mid 70s is when they were recording. Somebody got them and then put them together to release, the album. And that's it. That's all we got from them. Pure Hell. Great stuff, though, if you are unfamiliar with them and you're a punk rock fan.
So my next one, again, only 3 albums. Now, if you go on Discogs, or not Discogs, on Wikipedia, it says they have 4, but it's a live album. That's not a studio album. It has 1 song on it that's a studio song, but that's not a studio album. So they only have 3. And I feel they're very underrated, and they went away in 1992 was when their last album came out. It was never released on vinyl. But that's Mary's Danish. This is their debut. There Goes the Wonder Track. And
I remember that.
This, I recently got, their second album, Circa, was only released in the Netherlands. And this is I had to have this. So recently got this. But yeah, Mary's Danish, I feel like very underrated. The 2 female vocalists later went on and did other things like solo albums and other bands, but never the success that they had with. And they do a really good cover of Foxy Lady.
Of what?
Foxy Lady. Yeah. And these are all the shapes that Nevada should have been.
I pulled this one specifically for Craig.
Oh.
D'Angelo.
Jesus. Well,
I love when Craig gets all D'Angelo. What did he make? Only
D'Angelo, 3 albums.
3
First
albums,
one in
yeah.
95, second in 99 or 2000, and then this one was 2014, right?
Yeah. I love this record. This. I mean, he didn't.
D'Angelo.
Stop touching it like that.
I'm gonna touch it all. He's not on the cover though.
Yeah, he didn't do. He hasn't done anything close to. This is a fucking great record.
I mean, his second album, they're Voodoo.
Yeah.
They're so. His first 2 records are so expensive.
Oh
But,
yeah. I looked this one up. This is a really expensive record.
Is this expensive now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the last time I looked, it was.
Okay, because the first 2 are. This one, I mean, I don't think I got that long ago, and I paid.
It's
like
been
$20
reissued, or maybe it came. I don't know. Maybe it hasn't been.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's what I got. I got some D'Angelo.
D'Angelo. Y'all just want me to swoon.
It's working.
Where's the vapors? I'm getting the vapors.
So in the early 90s, there was a slight psychedelic movement where psychedelic kind of had a slight comeback. I mean, it obviously didn't have the same sound as the classic psychedelic music from the late 60s or whatever, but there were bands trying. They were trying. And one of them was a band called Jellyfish, and they had an album called Belly Button in 1990. And then I think 1992, they had the bigger one called Spilt Milk. And that was it. So kind of the Paisley, resurgence is what it was called, the Paisley Underground or whatever. Not everybody was from that particular, LA scene or whatever. But yeah, Jellyfish. Only 2 albums, and then they were done.
The first one.
Spilt Milk is terrific. They're both really good records. Really good.
And I feel like the first one was just reissued.
They both have been.
Oh, they both have? Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Don't know anything about them.
Yeah, they're very Beatle-esque, kind of. Yeah. They're good. They're really good.
Huh. Well, this one, I was kind of surprised. I mean, they have a lot of albums that I think were stuff that was put together by the record company, but they really fell apart and disbanded after their live performance at Duck Lake in Michigan. And that's the Stooges. And so they got, 3 albums. You've got
Three albums?
the Stooges, then you've got Funhouse, and then you've got Raw Power. So yeah, 3 albums. As I say, there's a lot of other albums in their discography, but they're all various mishmashes of live material and in outtakes or whatever, but those are the 3 studio albums, and 3 studio albums that really had a huge impact on the punk rock and rock and roll scene.
The
Stooges.
The debut is just brilliant. And when did that come out? 69?
Yeah, I think so. 69.
I mean, for an album like that to come out in 69, that's crazy. I mean, because that is a punk record.
Oh, yeah. The Godfather of punk.
It sounds like it's like a mid-70s record. It's great. It still holds up. It's back to you, Craig.
It's me.
Already.
I mean, we've all heard me gush about Harriet, so I'll just quickly. The Sundays. So the Sundays, Harriet Wheeler. Yeah, so reading, writing, and arithmetic. Blind. With the best version of Wild Horses, by the way. And Static and Silent, which you all hated. So there you have it. The Sundays, Harriet Wheeler. Come back to me, girl. 3 records.
Okay. I'm going to go a little more obscure, but kind of not really. I don't know. This is the Tourists. They were the band that Annie Lennox was in before she was in the Eurythmics. They made 2 records, I believe, and
3.
3.
3.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's their.
I like this one the best.
That's their second album.
Yeah, this one's great. Wow, look at that. Oh,
this is the final. This is my favorite, Luminous
Is
Basement.
it?
Yeah, this is good, but Luminous Basement. I do not have the debut. I have they have a greatest hits.
Yeah, there's a greatest.
Yeah, I have the great, but yeah, Luminous Basement. This is my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out. I've never heard it.
Yeah. Luminous Basement is so.
Yeah, but absolutely,
continue on.
Really good. And what year did this come out? This was 79.
79, yeah. Because I think the last one was 81 or 80.
Yeah, and she wasn't even. It was actually the lead singer who kind of broke up the band. She wasn't like, I'm going to another because I got better things to do. It was actually the lead singer who kind of broke up the band.
Yeah, and Annie really wasn't that promominent. Like
no,
she
wasn't.
did a few like lead vocals on a I Only Want to Be With You cover, and her voice is more prominent on the 3rd record. There's more songs that have her out there, but again, I've never heard the debut, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm gonna check that one out.
I need to get it, but I have the 2 and the greatest hits, but.
I'm going to check that one out. I haven't heard that.
Luminous Basement is so good. Yeah.
So I was talking about psychedelic music, and we could do an entire 2 hours on just psych bands that, had 1 or 2 or 3 albums. Gun and the Savage Resurrection and The End and Mighty Baby. Those are just right off the top of my head. So I'm just going to narrow it down to 1. And I just love the fact that I can finally show this album. And that is the band Kaleidoscope. And they only had 2 albums. Yeah. So Tangerine Dream is the first one. There's the drummer. He actually talked to me on YouTube. Yay!
Oh. That's awesome.
Because I made a whole video about this album. I was so happy to finally get this. But yeah, so their other one is called Faintly Blowing. I will have that at one point. I have it on a CD. But yeah, Kaleidoscope, we all reviewed that album. I think everybody really liked it.
Yeah, we loved it.
Kind of an obscure, we're doing obscure stuff. They're pretty obscure, but well loved, rediscovered after years and years and years. And yeah, from 1967 and 1968, their albums hail. And yeah, they're called Kaleidoscope, not to be confused with the US band called The Kaleidoscope, or I think there's a Mexican band called Kaleidoscope. This is the one from the UK.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get the same reissue you did. I went for the less expensive one with the tangerine splatter
Yeah, that
but-
one just came out. I didn't realize there was a new one that had just been released. But yeah, this one has the bonus 7-inch and the big gatefold and all the goodies and all the handwritten lyrics and the autographs on the back and all
and
kinds
even
of
the
stuff.
cheaper one was not cheap.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, but because there's high
put-
demand for that. There was high demand for that for sure.
Richard, who put that out? Do you know, offhand?
No, I don't know, and I didn't pull it as one of the ones. One I did pull.
Jackpot Records has been doing a lot of cool psych records.
It's probably the same label that did yours.
Yeah, I think it's the same one, and they're just calling it Fontana. They're not really.
That's probably what
2017 Kaleidoscope Sounds. So I think it's a self-produced thing. I know that this was the one that I have is available on their was made available on their website. That's why it's so hard to find. It wasn't really sent to
Kitty
cat.
All right. Well, next one I
wasn't
got
really
is
made available in stores. Is what I was. Going to say.
Another punk band. I'm sorry. Were you?
Oh,
Before that cat interrupted me, I was going to say that's why it's not readily available in stores and it's so rare because it was really only sold through their website.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I only saw it in Discogs. So and as I said, I went with the one that wasn't quite as deluxe. Another punk band from 1978 that made a huge smash on the scene. But then they fell apart afterwards. X-Ray Specs, Polystyrene. She was X-Ray Specs. She was the gold standard of the band. And then I guess I can't remember the guitarist's name. Got some attitude and decided that he didn't want her in the band, and so they booted her out of the band. And then they couldn't do anything else afterward. He started some other post-punk band that really never went anywhere. And then, unfortunately, Polystyrene died. I can't remember when. It wasn't during the era. It was some years later. Just amazing. She's they're part of the soundtrack to that documentary of the Sex Pistols when they come to America. DOA. That's the name of the documentary. And their music is featured in there, and that's how I heard about it. So that's when I went looking for the record, and then there was this reissue. I got a reissue, of course, because God knows how much an original of these cost. It's amazing, like with punk records, OGs are just
even the reissues are expensive,
right? Because they go so fast.
Yeah, they go very. Yeah, I've been trying to get that for a while.
Yeah, I've never seen a reissue.
Yeah. There's been a few too. There's been a couple.
So Germ-Free Adolescence by X-Ray Specs. Great record.
Yeah.
Great. They got a saxophone player in it that it's just like what you were saying, Robert. It's like not necessarily featured. It's there for the rhythm and background and boost and oomph, to go along with the songs. It just sounds killer. Good stuff.
All right. So this band also only had 3 albums. One half of Throwing Muses. Well, not one half, but vocalist wise. Tanya Donnelly with Belly. So we have the debut Star, and we have King. And then it was like 15 years later that we got what is this? Dove. All very pretty, by the way.
They're all good.
All OGs, by the way.
All good.
I just sold my OG of King for, I think it was Chris from Record Talk bought it.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
On the white?
That's totally that's his jam. That's
And he got quite a deal on that.
Yeah, he's the big throwing. I actually got mine for a pretty decent deal too. Mine was sealed.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not anymore, obviously, but yeah. I think I paid 50.
Oh,
Yeah, for sealed. Yeah.
nice. I got the second best band to come out of Manchester, England, the Stone
Roses,
Roses. The incredible debut, followed up by the extremely average. What is the name of the second one?
Coming.
Second Coming, yeah.
Yeah.
Not as good, but this debut, one of the great debuts of all time.
It's
Joy Division, and then Stone Roses. What a great band they were. Too bad they couldn't keep their shit together. But yeah, love the Stone Roses.
Is Fool's Gold on the debut or the second one?
That's on the second, isn't it?
I love Fool's Gold.
Yeah, it's on the second.
Okay, I love Fool's Gold.
Yeah, that's the one with Love Spreads.
Yeah, Love Spreads. I Want to Be Adored. She Bangs the Drums. Damn,
Well,
they're fabulous. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, this band has been mentioned a few times, but not officially, so I'll just officially mention them. The Sex Pistols. Only one album, unless you count the soundtrack to the great Rock and Roll Swindle.
No.
But yeah, which was a hodgepodge put together by, the producers of that movie. But so yeah, Sex Pistols. But then again, punk is similar to psychedelic music, where you could name all kinds of punk band, because punk, when it started off, a lot of it was a singles type thing. It wasn't even really albums, but you could do Fear. Agent Orange only had 3 albums. Stiff Little Fingers. I mean, the list just would go on and on and on. But just great punk bands. 3 albums or fewer. But I think the Sex Pistols would be the first one to come to everybody's mind.
I'm going to skip this band because I know Mike is going to be mentioning them. So I'll let you have that one. But I was, I'm not surprised this one, but they only had 2 albums that I could find anything about. That's New York Dolls.
Yeah.
Again, kind of going with the whole, although they're more glam rock than punk, but there's a punk edge to them. So there's the self-titled one, and then they had a record called Too Much Too Soon. And that's it for the New York Dolls.
I did not know that.
Didn't they have a Red?
Yeah, that's a Red vinyl.
No, an album, Red?
Yeah, they had an album called Red.
Album called Red.
I don't think it was an album. I think it was it might have been an EP or something. I looked it up, but
I'm looking.
I mean, they had stuff later on. That's why I didn't include them, because that's kind of they came back with like dancing backwards in high heels, and
yeah, that's
it may kind of please us to hear this at one point or whatever it was called. That one.
I mean, if you look at their discography, it says that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But there's a huge gap, right?
Yeah. So like Too Much Too Soon was in 1974, and then we had One Day It Will Pass Us to Remember Even This in 2000.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, in the 2000s.
And then there's Cause I Says So and Dancing Backwards in High Heels.
Those are bad.
Yeah, those are later.
I saw those, and that's like, okay, we're talking 35 years after,
Right.
That it's a 2 album.
And was it all the original members, or
I didn't even check to see, because another band that I will mention had an album released this year, but they're all dead except for one member.
So the next one, he's only had 3 albums, and they were all very long periods of time. I think the last one came out in 2014, and the second and third are really hard to find on vinyl. But I adore this man, and then also the female vocalist that would sing with him on some of the songs on his first 2 records, Lisa Hannigan. Damen Rice with his debut. I've seen him twice. Once with Lisa, once without. He opened for Fiona Apple.
That's a great album.
This is probably one of the greatest debut albums of all time. And then what is 9 is the second one, and then Fading Fantasy something or whatever is the third one. This really is where it's at, and yeah. And then when the third record, Lisa wasn't on the record at all, and you could definitely feel like their vocals together were just perfection. So yeah, Damen Rice, I don't feel like he gets mentioned as much as he should be. But yeah, absolutely fucking brilliant. I don't
beautiful album.
Yeah. This has got some like extra B-side shit. This is like the deluxe shit. So good.
Yeah. I'm going with Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They made only 3 actually, this probably shouldn't count because one of the records came out after he passed away. But it's the Mescalero. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, well, it counts because they definitely made 2. So they made 3 records total. Let's see. This is a huge like box set of the 3 records. Streetcore, Global A Go-Go is an absolutely fantastic record. Streetcore, and what's the other one called? X-Ray, the X-Ray Style. 3 great records. I'm telling you, if the Clash had stayed together, these would have been awesome Clash records. I love the Mescaleros. I just think the shit he did with them was fantastic. Streetcore is my favorite, and that's the one that came out after he passed away. Great band. It does not get enough credit. I saw them live once, and
wow, lucky.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, my God, just an absolute legend. These records do not get enough love. You can buy them individually now, but this was the box set I got a couple of years ago. He actually has 2 box sets. This is the Mescalero years, and then the previous one is like right after he leaves the Clash. It's kind of a mishmash of different things. It's not great. But these 3 records he does with them are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Since we're allowing bands that do like some one-off album decades later, then I can add Big Star to the list because technically they have 4 albums, but the last one is like one of like Richard was talking about. It's 2005 or something it came out. Really, they had the 3 number 1 record, which is the huge one, Radio City, which is a decent follow-up, and then Third Sister Lovers, which I still have yet to hear from 1978. So yeah, Big Star. Another one of those bands like the Modern Lovers that's just like completely influential, completely revered, but then only really just a very, they were not appreciated in their time. And so dissolved basically. And only 3 albums from the golden period.
Yeah. And I don't think Chris Bell is on that later album. I don't even know.
Yeah, probably not. I think
he disappeared after. Yeah, he didn't do anything. Yeah.
Well, Frank Zappa had an album called Reuben and the Jets. And Reuben and the Jets was a real band. This is Reuben and the Jets for real. Which
Reuben and the Jets.
Ruben Guevara. But the interesting thing is Tony Duran plays slide guitar, and he ended up playing slide guitar in a couple of Zappa records, including
Tony Orlando and Dawn was on that record.
Oh wow!
Wow, that's amazing.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm brilliant.
They had this album, which is Reuben and the Jets for real.
Reuben.
And then they had an album called Consafos. And those were the only 2 albums. But I think Tony Duran went on to be not a big, but he was a consistent session guitarist in a lot of various recordings. He did show up on a couple other Zappa recordings playing slide guitar, including the Grand Wazoo and Waka Jawaka. And he also played on Frank Zappa's Reuben and the Jets.
Okay. 3 albums. All brilliant. So much fun. Lady Missier. So we have Delights with World's Click. Infinity Within, their 2nd album, and their last and final, and my favorite, Dewdrops in the Garden. Lady Missier, like, I don't understand where the fuck, like, she was doing DJ shit and she was whatever. She had a couple like one-off singles, but yeah, what was the last record was like in '94. They had a dance.
Did they do that dance song with the slide whistle?
Yeah, Groove is in the Heart.
In the Heart.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Ooh, yeah. With
That-
what's his head is on it? Sly, right? No,
Bootsy Collins.
Bootsy, yeah,
Collins.
Bootsy's
Sorry,
on that.
Bootsy Collins,
Yeah.
yeah. And the radio version always cuts him out.
Oh my God! I heard that for the first time on my the radio station that I was on, and that shit got switched out immediately. Why the hell would you have that without Bootsy Collins?
That's the best part.
Right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And it just was like music, just like not even like an instrument, but just the background music. It's like, what? This is what?
Yeah. Why are
That's ridiculous.
I had never heard that before.
Never
like
heard that. Yeah.
2000, whenever it was, 2011 or whatever.
They still play it on the radio every once in a while. Like if you hear one of those like 90s or 80s radio stations or whatever,
Right?
it's the version without him.
Oh,
That's stupid.
Why?
Because they consider it a rap.
You know,
And so we don't play rap or heavy metal. It's
Well,
meant for like light rock
or
stations,
yeah,
I
it's
think.
him,
Or something,
but- and then they say mow the lawn. It's actually
I don't know that.
blow the horn. I always with the first time because they say blow the horn, and I always thought they said mow the lawn.
Oh, I thought you said it said that.
No, it says blow the horn, but
Oh, the horny horns.
this guy thought they were saying we
It's-
needed to mow the lawn.
Bootsy Collins is the horny horns. It's saying blowing them on the horny horns.
Horny horns. That's Paula Abdul. Go ahead.
Anyway.
Mikey.
mow the lawn. I'm not even familiar.
Mow the lawn.
I'm not even that familiar with that song. I guarantee you that's not what they say.
No, it's blow the horn, but
It's not blow the horn. It's blowing on the horny horns.
blowing on the horny
Oh my
horn.
God.
Bootsy Collins was the horny horns.
Oh, horny horns.
Blowing on the horny horns. What?
Blow them horny horns. I'm gonna look up You're probably right. I'm probably wrong because I'm, but it's not mow the lawn.
It's not.
It's not. We know that. We know that.
Oh, boy.
Mikey, go ahead. I'm taking up too much.
No, that's a great story. So this is a band called The New Number Two. They only made 3 albums. Their lead singer is Danny Harrison, son of the great Beatle. This is their album, The Fear of Missing Out. This is not their best album. They made 3 albums, and 2 of them are really good. This is not one of the really good ones. It's okay, but they're the first 2 are
Not say the fear of missing out.
I think the 2 that come right after this are really, really solid. He makes, of all the Beatle kids, Danny Harrison makes some really good, interesting music. His solo records after he left this band, the first one, I forget what it's called, is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But some really cool stuff. I got to see him live once, and it was a really good band. I wish they would get back together. Fun kind of psych pop music, as you would think a Beatle kid would make. But The New Number Two.
All kinds of funk bands that came and went in the early 70s. One of them was the Counts. They started off on Westbound Records, the Funkadelic label, and they had a great album, an excellent album called What's Up Front That Counts. And if you listen to their albums, you can hear a lot of samples of, what hip hop people would use later on. The intro to Snoop Dogg's What's My Name is featured in one of their instrumentals called Pack of Lies. But yeah, the Counts are their name. What's Up Front That Counts, and Love Sign and Funk Pump were their 3 albums from the early 70s. Just another one of those great funk bands that kind of came and went. The Counts.
Oh, have a count.
Well, this is a folk singer that I didn't even hear about until I read Richie Haven's autobiography, and he talked a lot about this guy, listening to him in the Village in the late 60s, and he's a Canadian folk singer that for a while I thought only had 1 album. It's Bruce Murdoch. And
heard of
I don't know, Bruce.
the album is 33 1/3 revolutions per minute. It's from 1970. You know, lyrically, he's a good songwriter. The album, though, it's a bit shrill. His voice is a little bit.
It looks a bit shrill.
Yeah,
That's not a good cover.
That's not
a good cover.
No, and he made this record, and as far as I knew, at least at the time that Richie Havens' autobiography was published, this was the only record. But apparently, and this was 1970, but apparently he did do a self-titled release in 1981. But that's it. He basically dropped out of the music scene and moved to Alberta, Canada, where he, I think, is still alive. He
lives in a tree.
Yeah. So
with Polly.
But, it's just an interesting artifact of that era.
And then with Polly, she lived in a tree.
I thought Polly wanted a cracker.
She does.
Polly wanted
Different
a
Polly.
She probably thought they were in a tree.
No.
You think crackers grow on trees, Polly?
Polly says her back hurts.
My back does hurt, but my name's not Polly. 3 records, and then the lead singer later went on, and she's done multiple. But oh my God, do they need to be mentioned? I don't have their second album. I need to get it, but where's my notes? 88, 89, final album in 92. The Sugar Cubes, Life Is Good, Bjork, and Stick Around for Joy. So Here Tomorrow, Today, Next Week is the second, and I do not have that one. And that has Regina.
Moving it along real quick. This is actually a best of. It just came out on a record store day. I think it was last year. The band Soul Coughing, great band. I think they only made 3 records.
They only had 3.
They're kind of a funky.
I almost mentioned them in their last video when we were talking about 98.
Yeah, funky post-punk.
Yeah,
band.
what was their big song?
The big one. They had a couple that were kind of big.
I can't think of anything now.
Belize about. Oh yeah. Sugar Free Jazz. This might be the big one.
Nah, that's not what I'm thinking of. Hold on, this bitch is looking.
Super Bon Bon?
Yes, that one.
Yeah,
that's on here.
So they're actually the 2 lead guys are actually back together, and they're touring.
For real now.
Yeah, they're playing at the Vic Theater here in Chicago, and it sold out in minutes. So I did not get any tickets. I was very upset. But yeah, Soul Coughing, cool post-punk.
Did you have to go to therapy?
Got a good groove to them. Funny lyrics too. Good humor.
Yeah, very fun band. Very fun. They'd probably be really fun to see in concert.
Mm-hmm.
So Richard mentioned really quickly, I was actually going to mention this next, going all the way back to the beginning when, again, just like the punk thing, I talked about a lot of singles, not a lot of albums. So when you think about it, Richie Valens, you said Richie Havens, though. Richie Valens, one album, basically. Tragically died in a plane crash. Yeah. Buddy Holly really only had the Chirping Crickets and I think one more. Yeah, just the Buddy Holly one without the glasses, and then everything else is a compilation of singles and whatever. And Eddie Cochran, same way.
Years of comps.
Yeah, just all these compilations, these 50s rockers that died tragically young. Eddie Cochran, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens. So yeah, there's more, but you could say the Big Bopper, but he just had one song. I don't think he was that influential. He happened to be in the same plane. But yeah,
Big Bopper.
All those tragically dying young 50s rockers that really just had a lot of singles, but really probably only had 1 or 2 albums.
Patsy Cline.
Well, Patsy Cline had several albums.
Did she have more than 3?
Yeah, she had one on. She had albums before she went to MCA or Decca, I should say.
Okay. It's tragic, also. So go ahead, Richard.
Well, I was kind of surprised one, that someone hadn't mentioned them yet, and two, that they did only have 3 albums. But this is one of those ones where they did 3 albums, in like 69, 70, and 71. And then this year they came out with an album. And I think like one of them is still alive. And that's MC5. They had Kick Out the Jams back in the USA in High Time. And then, that was it for them. And then, and now they've got something out in 2020. A band with that name has an album out this year. I don't know anything about it, and frankly, I could probably care less.
Well, he was on it before he passed. It was recorded before he passed away, right? The lead singer, what's his name?
I can't remember, but he was like
Fred
the only.
Sonic Smith
No, Wayne Johnson
or Wayne Kramer.
I know Wayne Johnson.
Kramer. Yeah, he just passed away.
Chef.
I think he's on that new album, but there's nobody else in the band on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne Kramer, Rob Tyner, Fred Smith, Michael Davis, Dennis Thompson. Those are the originals.
I think everyone's gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're counting literal studio albums, they only had 2 because Kick Out the Jams is actually live.
That's true. It is.
So,
yeah, that come to think of it, that is. But it was like that was their big deal, and they certainly all 3 of those records were like.
Did I say Wayne Johnson? Isn't that The Rock? the Rock was not.
Dwayne Johnson is
Dwayne
Johnson. But Wayne, I know Wayne Johnson. He's a chef in Seattle. He's very popular, very famous. Makes really good.
All right, there you go with that.
Okay. A girl in trouble is a temporary thing. Temporary. And I might like you better if we slept together. Romeo Void only had 3 albums. I don't have the middle one or the debut. I don't know which one I don't fucking have, but I have the one with Never Say Never, which, fun fact, album version, they bleep out fuck. The 12-inch does not. And a girl in trouble is a temporary thing.
That is such a good record.
Temporary. Oh my God, Deborah.
And that's one of my least favorite songs on that record, actually.
I love Girl in Trouble.
It's a good record.
Deborah is just, and she had 2. So I could have thrown her too because she.
I almost picked that to be one of our albums to review a couple of months ago.
Instincts or the other one?
The one you were just holding.
Well, I was holding 2, love.
That one. I was holding 2, love.
That one.
Yeah. Temporary. Go ahead.
It's a really good album.
They're both.
Oh, I'm up.
Go ahead.
We'll do. I'm not going to show this one.
It's my favorite.
I'll do this one. Well, because it's kind of it's in along the line. It's in the line of like psychedelic garage bands that only had 1 or 2 albums. But this is the Human Beings. I love this album. They only made 2 records. Their first one was much more popular. It had a big single on it. I always forget the name of the single. But it's like one of those classic 60s garage rock band songs. I forget. You should Google it. But the Human Beings. This one, both records are really good. Excellent guitar work. Good lead sing. Man, I can't remember it. Their first single is one of the great rock and roll songs of all time. All right. I forget what it was.
I'm Googling it, so.
Google it.
I'm Googling it. Y'all know I Google well.
But really good band. More garagey than Psych. I really dig them. I thought they were really cool. I wish they could have done more.
So they had only 1 hit record in the U.S. and it was called "Nobody But Me."
Nobody, but you know that song.
No,
yeah, and that's on their debut.
But I'm going to pretend that I do.
This has a lot of covers too on it. But anyway,
are they Beatles covers? Because that was very popular then.
Actually.
Yeah, that was too popular to do.
No Beatles covers.
Wow, that's a miracle. Wonders of wonders, miracles of miracles. Go ahead, Fithin.
Buffalo Springfield technically only had 3 albums. They had their first one, they had Again, and then Third Time Around, and then that was their final time around. So great music on there that also ended up on things like Neil Young compilations and whatever. And of course they had various Neil Young and Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young and Stills and Young and all that kind of stuff. But Buffalo Springfield properly only had 3 studio albums, and then they broke up and all went their separate ways.
And those 3 albums came out real fast, like within a period, I think.
Yeah. The first one was re-released, so you could technically say that's 2 different albums because they took off a song and put on For What It's Worth. But
right.
So there's 2 versions of the first album, but 3 albums.
Mm-hmm. Fancy.
Well, I was holding these because I figured that Mike was going to talk about them, but I'm going to talk about them because they're the last ones I have here. That's the 13th floor elevators. They had 3 records, really. Their psychedelic sounds of the 13th floor elevators, Easter Everywhere. And the one I don't have is Bull of the Woods.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
And then, Rocky Erickson ended up, another acid casualty and combining with undiagnosed schizophrenia and found himself in a hospital for a long time. Came out and did some decent work later. I've got a couple of his records from then, but quite an amazing sound to come out of Texas and really shake things up. So I had the 13th floor elevators.
I saw him live in the 80s in a bar. There was probably 75 people in it. And he was great. He was terrific. He was having a good day, I guess. But I thought it was great. He played a lot of the 13th floor stuff. Man, that Easter Everywhere, I've said it before, it's one of my favorite psychedelic records. I just love that record.
All right, so this is a band from Dublin. They only had 2 records. There was a breakoff later, like a few of the bands created another one that is current now. They are referred to as Soda Blonde. But 2013, 2016, their 2 only albums. Little Green Cars. This is their debut. Absolute Zero. Faye O'Rourke's voice is just like butter and perfection and all that goodness. And I don't know why I never got this, because the second one is available on vinyl.
I remember that record.
Oh my God, this is so good. Oh my God. They have the song My Love Took Me Down to the River to Silence Me. Her lover taking her to the river. He gonna murder her. She's dead.
Yeah.
Watch out, bitch.
Robert doesn't like these
because why be original? Let's go down to the river with a dead person again.
Oh my! I'm sorry.
On the
original. She walks in and finds her man fucking the neighbor on the kitchen floor.
What?
That's
highly original. Sure, we'll go with that.
Do you know any other song of somebody fucking on the kitchen floor?
Soul
Boney
Kitchen?
Maroney.
Soul Kitchen?
But twisting in the kitchen with
Soul Kitchen. Yeah.
Because they ain't fucking, they're just twisting. Go ahead.
Fucking, they're just twisting. That might be the title of this video.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I got two left here that I pulled.
I have 50, so go ahead.
You might be doing this video all by yourself.
No,
I can do one more. I found another one that I can do.
I'll do a sporadic.
This is Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. You guys remember them?
No.
Probably 80. When did this come out?
I remember the name Lloyd Cole, but I don't remember the Commotions.
He did some solo.
Yeah, he did some solo stuff.
Yeah.
But the Commotions were his first band. This is Easy Pieces, and then there's one called Rattlesnakes or something like that. That was the bigger record. They were cool, kind of a soulful 80s rock. They were on Geffen. Nothing to really say about them, to be honest. They were decent though. I remember liking them a lot. And
we're scraping the barrel now.
Yeah, we're really.
I'm not scraping.
I have a band that, again, like everybody's always saying, I can't believe nobody's mentioned this band. So I'll go ahead and mention them, even though I never really got into them. And I don't actually have anything by them. No records, no CDs, nothing. I've never owned anything by this band. Joy Division.
I was surprised nobody's mentioned them yet.
Yeah, you know what?
It's why I did it.
So many of their other albums were always these kind of like archive kind of.
Substance was the big one when I was in high school. Everybody
they had two albums.
Those particular group of people had Substance.
Yeah, they only had good one. There's a comp.
But they had the two. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a comp called Warsaw that is really.
Yeah, but that was when they were called Warsaw.
Previous, that was previous before they were joined.
Substance, I remember being the one that was a big seller when I was in college and high school and whatever.
Well,
that was the one with the gray cover.
Yeah.
More, I'm kind of, maybe I don't. This doesn't count as the. This was a legitimate project for a while, but they only did one album. So it was a legitimate band, and they recorded for other people. I don't think it qualifies as like Blind Faith or Mick Bloomfield's.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, this isn't.
We'll see. I mean, Derek and the Dominoes.
Of course, that doesn't qualify.
That does not qualify.
That doesn't qualify.
It doesn't
Put
qualify.
that away.
Yeah, only one of the greatest albums ever recorded, but doesn't qualify.
Yeah, that's a super group.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Layla, right?
Oh, Richard.
Well, I was just trying to find out. I mean, I could go with a punk, like you were saying, punk bands. There's like the Germs.
Yeah. I mean, the punk bands. It's like the psych bands. It just goes on and on.
Right. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so only 2 albums.
Never mind.
2 albums. Fabulous compilation later. And it has a bunch of their B-sides and bullshit on it, which I just recently got, but I won't show you that. From 86 and 87, only 2 albums. Later, half of the band went on to a different band. But yes, the House Martins with London, 0, Hole 4, and the People Who Grinned Themselves to Death.
I love that.
The people who what?
Grinned
themselves.
Grinned themselves.
I've grinned myself.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I is my God.
I should have pulled those. Yeah. 2 good records. I'm going with the Pale. No, not the Pale Saints. It's just Pale Saints.
Pale Saints.
Yeah.
You have that?
2 albums?
Yeah, only 2.
Yeah. For
what
just that kind of shoegazy, really good band. I love
Pinky Love, right? Wait.
Yeah. This is their best record. Yeah,
So
I love
good.
them.
I love Pale Saints. I almost mentioned them, but I don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't have the other one. That one is the better of the 2, well, according to me.
Now, I thought of an artist, and again, like Joy Division, I've never really been into this person. I don't have anything from them except for a CD single. And I'm surprised no one's mentioned. We're going to get blasted in the comments if no one does mention, if it's omitted. Amy Winehouse.
So my thing on Amy
2
Winehouse,
albums.
I was trying to avoid people that died because I feel if Amy
That wasn't in the rules.
Yeah, really?
No, this is Craig rule.
Everybody died.
Nobody else's rule. And they were all my friends and they died. But did he have more than 3 albums, Jim Carroll? Anyway,
He had Praying Mantis, Wet Dreams. So yeah, he must have had more than 3.
Yeah, I only know the one with people who died. I have that, but I was because I also thought of like Aaliyah and people like that. That they probably would have, or Janis Joplin, they probably would have had more records had they lived. So I'm not.
Well, yeah. The next one I have is another one that they have 1 album because they died. That's Tim Buckley. Not Tim Buckley.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Jeff Buckley.
Jeff Buckley. I was going to say that too.
Yeah. And how many did Janis have? Because Pearl came out.
Well, she had the 2 she always had like groups. So she was with Big Brother and the Holding Company for 2 albums. Then she was with the Cosmic Boogie Band for an album. Then she was with Full Tilt Boogie for an album. So it's like, is she with bands or are they solo albums? Or, so Janis Joplin's kind of iffy.
Pearl came out after she died.
After she died, which isn't that technically her only solo album? Or is there Full Tilt Boogie is on that? Is the band, right?
Full Tilt Boogie's on Pearl, but that's still not. That's not a. I mean, she was recording that, and it was a planned release. It wasn't like it was something that was thrown together by the record company.
No, right. I know she was working on that, but
yeah.
Okay, who's next?
Yeah, back at you, Craig.
Oh, it's me. Okay. Yeah, only 2 albums. A lead singer actually has 2 albums as well. She'll probably do more. But Alabama Shakes, Brittany Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, so and the debut, like their second album, but oh my God, their debut and the song "Hold On." Oh, Jesus Lord, Hallelujah! I could listen to it every minute of my life. So, thank you, Alabama Shakes, Brittany Howard. She's fucking brilliant. Braille, fucking int.
Yeah, they're both good. They're both good records. I really like them.
But the debut is
it's better.
It's far superior.
I saw them on that tour.
They were great.
Yeah,
I love Britney.
They were great. And they're never going to get back together. She has no interest of ever reuniting.
No, yeah, but
none at all. I don't know why.
She's doing all right with her solo.
Yeah, she's doing all right. I don't know. I got one more. Television. 2 albums, great albums. Both of them, I think, are equally as good. I know the second one. I have the second one. What's it? Adventure? It gets because the first one is so iconic. But I think the second one's just as good as the first. So I mean, 2 really, really good records.
All right. So we should probably, unless Craig has a bunch more that he would like to mention.
Yeah, because I pulled all this shit. So is everybody done?
Well, Mike said he was done. I mean, I could mention, all I can say is that my life is pretty plain. I could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Blind Melon.
Blind Melon. Yeah, no, they're not on my list. So I can go very quickly.
I used to have that CD.
Did you have any more, Richard?
No.
Okay, because
Funky guy Clarence Reed is kind of obscure, but he only had 3 albums.
Who?
Clarence Reed. Get with it.
Clarence Reed. I mean, Milli Vanilli only had 1, but I didn't pull that. I pulled all these records, so I feel like I do not want to not mention this shit. So I'm gonna do very quickly. Some I was like, really, only 3 albums, like Paula Abdul, because she's been like, I want to throw some pop shit in there. She only had 3 albums. Her last one was like in '95.
Thank God.
Just because she needs to be mentioned as much as she needs to be mentioned. Martika, she only had 2 albums.
Oh, for God's sakes. Now we are scraping.
Jose only had 3.
I saw Martika live too.
Scraping.
Jealous.
Martika.
Wasn't as long ago.
If this dude even pulls the Fugees or that
Lauryn Hill, and I'm not pulling either one of those, so shut up. I'm sorry, but the Civil Wars.
Oh yeah,
they only had 2 albums.
2 records.
Fucking John.
Was one of them called North and the other South?
No,
that would be funny.
Barton Hollow and Civil Wars. But oh my God, the Civil Wars, fucking brilliant. Breathe. They only had 2 albums. Moni Love, she only had 2 albums. Moni in the Middle, where you at? Okay, we're getting down. All right.
Yeah, we are. We are.
No, shut your dirty whore mouth. I got some shit that needs to be mentioned. All right. Portishead. Beth Gibbon, 2 solo albums. Portishead only had 3.
Her new album is great.
I haven't heard it yet. Voice of the Beehive only had 3 records. They covered I Think I Love You. General Public, 3.
Good call.
Tenderness, where is the tenderness?
Yeah, that song's
Shut your dirty whore mouth. It is good.
Wow,
hey,
twice.
Shivery, Shivari, whatever you want to call, only 3 records. Last one was a cover.
You know, you could have even included the English beat up to a point.
Yeah, I
because
was
after
just about-
special
Yeah.
needs service, I mean,
yeah, English beat had
I was just about to say that.
yeah, but they
400
weren't
beats.
English
Big
beat
Audio
records.
Dynamite.
You know, well, because you have Big Audio Dynamite too, you know, but I just wanted.
But I still think if you put both of them together, that's only 3 albums.
Right. Okay. We're JJ Fat and we're here to rock.
What is
2
that?
albums. Okay, I'm getting down.
Show
to
that
the
again.
one.
Just
Show
let him
that
put it
again.
down.
What is that?
Shut it, because these are important. I'm sorry, Frou Frou, Imogen Hip,
Oh,
or Imogen Heap.
I
and
know her.
whatever his fucking name
Anybody
is.
picking
Only
up
one
what he's
album.
putting down?
No.
doesn't she
Frou.
do a? Doesn't she do a really good cover of Bizarre Love Triangle? Is that her?
No, that's somebody else. But they
That's
do.
Fronte.
They do. That's Fronte,
the one.
but
Yeah,
Frou
that's
Frou.
it.
They do.
Yeah, you get
really
Frou
well-
Frou confused with Fronte.
No, Imogen Heap,
French. They're
Imogen
both
Heap,
French, right?
but
Oh, what? Image and Heat?
Imogen Heap.
Oh,
Oh my
Imaging
Jesus
Heap.
Lord.
Did King
But they
Missile do
do.
anything besides detachable penis?
Oh my God.
3D pile of
They
food.
do a really great cover.
As long
of
as we're
Holding Out
scraping
for a
here.
Hero.
Did,
Totally
did Dennis
set yourself
Leary
up.
ever come up with a song after Asshole?
I'm holding out for a hero. They do a cover. Shut your goddamn! I want to punch you all, especially Robert.
You
Sessions.
set yourself up for this.
Well, if you all would have come up with more shit, Jesus Christ, superstar.
We didn't want to come up with shit. We wanted to come up with
No, this is good
I
shit.
think the title
I'm
of the
sorry.
video is "Great Albums." or
Yeah,
Great
Yeah,
I'll
no,
have
that-
to change it now. It just bands with
No, these are great. Shut your
One album
I'm
barely
gonna pop a
wonders.
vein. Okay, Night Terrors.
how
of
many did the Fat Boys
1927.
put out?
Like 3 or 4. Okay, sorry. Night Terrors of 1927. Thank you very fucking much. I'm sorry. Blue Angels. Blue
Oh
Angels.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that was Cindy Lauper's
Lauper.
group.
Cindy
We used to
Lauper.
drink those in the
really?
70s.
Yeah.
That's a good album.
Yes. Yes. Polydor. OG. Thank
Cindy
you.
Lauper was in that band.
Yeah,
She's right here. There's Cindy right there.
Oh,
And this has maybe the original version of Maybe He'll Know on it, which was on True Colors, her second album. Thank you. Breakfast Club, right on track. 1 album. Madonna was in the original. Okay, last 2 I want to mention. I can't believe nobody. They only had 1.
there's a reason some of these. I mean, besides, some people
I'm
die.
sorry, but
Sometimes
there
people
may
break
not be
up.
a
Sometimes
reason.
people are like, "Yeah, let's not make any more music."
No, I don't understand the reason why they only had 1 album. I'm sorry, the Count 5 with.
oh, I love that record. That's a
Oh,
good record.
yeah, I forgot all about that.
That's
yes.
great.
Political psychotic reaction.
Yeah, no.
I have that record too.
Nobody knows who the Rhythm Corps are, but I want to mention them because Can We Meet on Common Ground? And I guess they were kind of super. I don't know, but Divine Fits, 1 record.
Nicely.
I pulled that.
Wow, you
shit.
saved your
I
best
had
one
to
to
show
last.
it. Y'all,
That's a
can
great
go
record.
into the bathroom and fuck yourselves for not appreciating.
That is,
hell?
And I did not show Yaz or Yazoo, by the way. So
Tell that Divine,
Wow.
that Divine Fits album is absolutely fantastic.
it's
Don't just go in
brilliant.
the kitchen
I'm
and do it.
sorry.
Go in the bathroom and do it.
But that is
Well,
is,
you know, you can do
Daniel
it
Britt.
here. I just, you know, maybe
That's
I want
Daniel Britt from Spoon, and the guy from the Handsome Family.
I don't know.
What was the name of that band? Damn it!
I don't know.
Yeah.
The DeFranco family.
No.
Heartbeat. It's a love beat.
Okay, we're done.
Shut my dirty whore mouth.
How many albums did the Starland Vocal Band come out with?
Too many.
1. Did they do more than 1? But they do.
I don't
love
know.
Afternoon Delight. You know what you're asking? This bitch is going to deliver. Okay. Starland Vocal.
I would say 2. Because I think they had a one with a whitish cover with kind of bubbly letters on it, and then
Yeah,
the
that
other
was-
one was dark.
That was the Afternoon Delight one. I used to
Yeah,
have
that
it.
was-
I got rid of it because that was the only good song on it. Oh, 1, 2, 3. They had 5 albums. They had a Christmas album.
Of course they did.
Christmas at Home. But the only one that we can actually read about is their debut, which has Afternoon Motherfucking Delight on it. And there's your cover of it.
Yeah, that's
the one.
Yeah.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon Motherfucking Delight.
Not how it goes.
All right. So, what were some of your favorite bands that have released or artists that have released 3 albums or fewer? Let us know in the comments. And just, keep in mind that this video is already over an hour. Yes, there are plenty of psych, punk, garage bands. We could have gone on and on. We don't need the, how could you guys not you're idiots. No one asked for that. We're just asking for what some of your favorites are that were not mentioned, or maybe that were mentioned. You can say, yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you for mentioning these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chipper at the Sugar Bowl.
And we're done.
What? I don't know what the chipper at the sugar.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Wait,
Here
where's
is my handle. Here is my other handle. Shit, I'm a sugar bowl. Thank you so much for watching. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. Coming up, we are going to do things like review Taylor Swift's Folklore album, talk about the tops and bottoms of 1971, and yes, we'll play another version of that game that we played on a few episodes ago. So yes, we'll do that again.
You'll marry it.
Thank you so much for watching. We are the Vinyl Gunkle. Why do I keep saying that? We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Kitten, along with
Richard Calvin Wazoo, who is not an abscess.
I'm going to say, what, you're an abscess like a tooth?
Well, I kept saying, he's talking. Never mind.
I'm plethora of Craig's vinyl because I want to be Gunkle.
I thought that was a carbuncle.
Kerfunkel, Kirkunkel.
That's kind of what I was going for, but
I'm a Craig.
Edit that shit out.
Mikey.
I'm Mike at Hubtunes.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
Coherently.
Don't worry about this bitch.